Chapter 8. The First Mission. Months had passed since Anna had agreed to join the resistance. Her days were filled with rigorous training sessions that pushed her to the brink of her abilities and beyond. Sunny, her most strict and demanding instructor, praised her progress as she continued to master the art of marksmanship. Her skills with a rifle became nothing short of extraordinary, surpassing even those of Charlie, whose talents had once been unmatched. The memory of Charlie's death still lingered, but it had transformed from a source of pain to a driving force. Anna was determined to honor his legacy, to fight for the cause he had believed in so deeply. She was spending hours on the shooting range, practicing tirelessly until her hands dropped in exhaustion. She knew that every minute she spent training was a step closer to becoming the sniper Charlie had her once envisioned. During this time, Rachel seemed to have retreated into the shadows. She no longer confronted Anna, and their interactions were limited to terse nods and hostile exchange of glances. Although far from ideal situation, it was still a welcome relief from the open confrontations, allowing Anna to focus on her development and relationship with James. Their love story flourished, hidden from the rest of the team. Stolen moments and small secret signs of affection marked their days, the bond between them growing tighter day by day. Then, one early morning, an unexpected invitation came in. Sunny called to gather Anna and James in his office. When she arrived, James was already there, sitting at the large red table that was filled with heaps of documents and equipment as usual, which made Anna wonder at times, how could their beloved leader find anything in this disarray? She was going to make a light-hearted joke on this account, but noticed that Sunny's expression was extremely serious. He greeted her with a curt nod, and reaching into one of the piles on the table, he pulled out and handed her a thick, unmarked black folder. "Your first mission," he stated solemnly, waiting for her to open the file. "Our intelligence has located a high-ranking official in the Consortium. He is going to be your first mission. Your target." Anna opened the dossier, her eyes prudently scanning the documents within. The man in question was a top player in the Consortium's operations, a key figure responsible for orchestrating many of its sinister plans. His name was Viktor Markov, a ruthless strategist with a penchant for cruelty. Eliminating him would be a significant blow to their enemy. The weight of the assignment settled on Anna's shoulders, but she felt ready. The months of training had prepared her for this moment. She looked at Sunny with determined expression on her face and gave him a curt but respectful nod to signal that she accepts the task. Teams spent the next few days planning every detail of the mission. They studied Markov's routine, analyzing his movements and identifying potential vulnerabilities. He was known for his stringent security measures, always surrounded by bodyguards and traveling in armored vehicles. However, he had a weakness. His ever-changing schedule had one predictable pattern. Every Thursday evening, he visited his not-so-secret lover in a prestigious townhouse in the wealthy suburban area. This was a rare moment when he was relatively exposed to a potential threat, their opportunity to strike. The plan was simple yet precise. Anna would take a position on a rooftop overlooking the street, providing a clear line of sight to the entrance. James would be stationed nearby, ready to assist and ensure their safe return. They mapped out and prepped the escape routes, considering every possible scenario and figuring out how to cover their retreat. The tension was rising, but so was their dedication and tenacity. This was what they had been working towards all these months. On the night of the mission, Anna found herself at the designated sport, perched on the rooftop, her rifle set ready in her hands. The city stretched beneath her, a dazzling labyrinth of streets, avenues, and winding prospects, alive with countless flickering lights, headlights weaving through traffic, neon signs pulsing atop storefronts, and apartment windows glowing like scattered embers. It was the perfect stage for their covert operation. The young woman wore a black tactical suit that blended seamlessly with the velvety darkness of the night, her face partially covered by a balaclava to obscure her identity. James was beside her, pacing the length of the roof impatiently and keeping a watchful eye on their surroundings. He checked in with her frequently. She could feel his mild anxiety, but his voice coming through the earpiece was calm and reassuring. "Remember, Anna, take deep breaths. Trust your training. You've got this." She centered herself and double-checked her rifle, ensuring the scope was calibrated correctly and the magazine was loaded. She adjusted her position, lying prone on small, elevated unit, part of the building's air ventilation system, with the rifle resting on a bipod for stability. After that, she stayed silent, motionless, watching the street below for signs of arrival of her target. The weight of the weapon felt familiar and comforting in her grasp. She was starting to feel her fingers growing numb in the chill autumn night when Markov's convoy finally appeared at the far end of the street. Anna's heart rate involuntarily picked up a pace. The armored vehicle pulled up to the building in the front and came to a stop. Markov emerged, flanked by his bodyguards. Apart from his ostentatious escort, he appeared utterly unremarkable. A man of average height and build, clad in a well-tailored gray overcoat that he swiftly buttoned upon stepping out of his vehicle, bracing against the sharp bite of the November night breeze. Markov briefly glanced around and headed to the front door of the apartment building. Seeing her target on the move, Anna lined up the shot, her finger hovering over the trigger. She focused on her breathing, slowing it down to steady her aim. This was it, the moment she had been training for. Time to show her talent and avenge Charlie, but as she prepared to squeeze the trigger, a tiny worm of doubt wiggled his way into her consciousness. Markov seemed so ordinary, so human. Does he have any kids? Do they love their father? Will they miss him? Could she take a life, even if it was for the greater good? How will she live after knowing that she is responsible for someone's death? The seconds stretched into an eternity, her hesitation growing with each passing heartbeat. Markov has already walked up the entrance steps and was about to pass through the front door, cordially opened wide for him by a porter. "Anna, what's wrong?" James's voice crackled through the earpiece. I can't do it," she whispered, a shaky reply. James moved swiftly, grabbing rifle from her hands. "I'll handle it." He lined up the shot in a hurry and missed. The bullet struck Markov in the shoulder. Man's scream echoed through the night and chaos erupted. The bodyguards reacted instantly, forming a protective shield around him. Two of them dragged Markov towards the safety of the armored vehicle, while others scanned the street and nearby buildings, their eyes searching for the shooter. They moved with military precision, their weapons drawn and ready. "Shots fired! Shots fired!" one of the bodyguards shouted onto his radio. "We need backup now!" Anna and James could hear the rapid exchange of voices over the guards' radios, coordinating the search and calling for police reinforcements. James grabbed Anna's hand, pulling her to her feet. "We need to move, now!" They hurried across the rooftop, their footsteps hurried and urgent as they reached the edge. The area was soon flooded with the sound of sirens, and flashing lights lit up the night. Guards and police swarmed below, their shouts filling the air. James crouched, scanning for a clear route before motioning to Anna. They had no time to waste. Carefully they descended the fire escape, each rung cold beneath their fingers. When they reached the ground, James pulled her behind a stack of crates, the two of them pressed against the cold concrete, waiting for an opportune moment. Anna's pulse beat like a drum in her ears. Her breath was hasty and shallow. This wasn't how the mission was supposed to go, but there was no time for wallowing in regrets now. She exchanged a quick glance with James. Silently they slipped through the shadows, keeping low, avoiding the sweeping beams of flashlights as they navigated their way through the maze of patrolling guards. Every step felt like a gamble, but they had to trust each other, and the darkness, if they were going to make it out alive. Finally, they reached a narrow alleyway, ducking into the shadows. James pulled out a small device, a sophisticated electronic gadget that he had meticulously prepared for this very scenario. It was a multifunctional distraction tool designed to create chaos and confusion. He pressed a series of buttons, activating several options at once. Instantly, it emitted a high-frequency noise, causing nearby car alarms to blare. Smoke canisters that were hidden around the area ahead of time burst open, creating thick clouds that obscured visibility of their pursuers, and several remote-controlled flashbangs burst in explosions in different directions, their bright flares and loud cracks simulating gunfire and causing further disarray. Amidst the cacophony, James and Anna could hear the guards' frantic voices over the radios. "What the hell is going on? Check the perimeter! Secure Markov!" The distraction worked perfectly. The guards and police officers split up, some chasing phantom gunshots, others trying to navigate through the smoke-filled streets. The confusion allowed James and Anna to slip away undetected, moving swiftly through the labyrinthine alleyways. "We need to get back to the bunker," James remarked, his voice still tense. "There's nothing else we can do." Anna nodded weakly, her legs feeling like jelly. As they made their way through the city's labyrinthine streets, she couldn't shake the feeling of failure. Her hesitation caused them to fail this important mission and had nearly cost them their lives.
This is the end of this chapter. Thank you very much for listening. Please, let me know in the comments, what would you like to see further in the story? What do you think of the characters? What was the most interesting thing for you about this part of the story? I would love to hear your opinion and feedback.